Shalom, brothers and sisters. So let's talk Israel quickly and run through the latest stories coming out of Israel to start our day with. Because the focus of the world now and the focus of the world going forward in Daniel's 70th week is going to be Israel, not the church. Why not the church? Because we won't be here. It is a time of sifting and fire to purify a remnant of Israel. Daniel's 70th week, Jacob's trouble. And we see everything aligning with Bible prophecy coming together for that 70th week. All right, so first one. This was interesting for me because it speaks of the other tribes. Now, most people know not all the tribes have been found, but other tribes are turning up as time goes along. 215 members of India's lost tribe of B'nai Manasseh are among the IDF soldiers fighting Hamas and Hezbollah. Of B'nai Manasseh immigrants of military age, nearly all the men, 99%, and 10% of women join the IDF, with 90% of females performing Sherut Lumi, national service due to religious reasons. The B'nai Manasseh are dedicated Zionists, passionate about the state of Israel, its people, and their security. It is no coincidence that many of them serve in combat units in the IDF. We are proud of their willingness to risk their lives. The B'nai Manasseh, or sons of Manasseh, claim descent from one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel who were sent into exile by the Assyrian Empire more than 27 centuries ago. Their ancestors wandered through Central Asia and Far East for centuries before settling in northeastern India, along the borders of Burma and Bangladesh. The B'nai Manasseh continued all that time to practice Judaism like their ancestors did, in observing Shabbat, keeping kosher, celebrating the festivals, and following the laws. Down through the generations, they nourished a dream of one day returning to the land of their ancestors, the land of Israel. How interesting is that? And we know that one of the disciples ended up going there and eventually gave his life on that side of the world as well. So, tribe of Manasseh fighting in Israel for Israel. And we see Israel just coming together at a time of great trouble. And like I've said before, and I'm going to say again, more and more of those that were holding out or comfortable in the rest of the world are now, due to anti-Semitism and evil and darkness, being pushed and squeezed back towards Israel. And when this war's over and they have had a resounding victory, and yes, they're going to replay this video afterwards, then they will all feel it's the only safe place in the world is in Israel, with their own military and their defense, and God keeping his hand on that country. IDF arrests Palestinian activist Ahmed Tamimi for calling to slaughter Jews, saying that what Hitler did was a joke. You can't make this up. This is how in your face the evil in the world is. And then some so-called Christians and some so-called, civilized people want to identify with this and say it's right. IDF arrested the well-known terrorist supporter from the West Bank on Monday after she incited for the murder of Jews. 22-year-old Tamimi called for Jewish residents of Judea and Samaria to be killed, saying that what Hitler did would pale in comparison to what she and her fellow Palestinians would do. We are waiting for you in all the West Bank cities, from Hebron to Jenin. We will slaughter you, and we will say what Hitler did to you was a joke, she wrote on social media. We will drink your blood and eat your skull. Come on, we are waiting for you. Tamimi is a leading activist in the PA, having gained notoriety for her violence against IDF soldiers in her hometown of Nabi Saleh, where she was reportedly continued to attack IDF soldiers since she was a child. This is an example of, and you've seen the video clip I forwarded on Telegram. They train and indoctrinate small children who should be playing and being innocent and having a normal childhood, they train them and indoctrinate them with weapons, bombs, and death to the Jews and death to the Zionists and the destruction of Israel. They implant as much hate as they can from such a formative age that you end up with people like this as grown-ups that don't think they're doing anything wrong when the evil is rampant in their lives. It is sick and twisted what man has done to man. Israeli troops are fighting in the heart of Gaza City. Hamas leader is now surrounded in a bunker. IDF Minister Yoav Gallant issued on Tuesday a battlefield update announcing that the troops in the heart of Gaza City, and it's where the largest terrorist base has ever been built, we are going to destroy Hamas. The defense chief also appeared to reject US pressure for a humanitarian pause. Gallant said there will be no humanitarian truce without the return of the hostages. I agree with him 100%. I mean, that's humanitarian. Give back those babies and children and grandmas and grandpas and things that you've got hostage. That's humanitarian. He further said the IDF now has Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar surrounded in his bunker. He noted that fighting is happening in residential areas where they like to shelter with civilians as a shield. A new speech by Prime Minister Netanyahu affirmed the same and again put Hezbollah on notice. Prime Minister Netanyahu said the IDF has reached deeper into Gaza than Hamas ever imagined, warning Lebanon's Hezbollah it would be making the greatest mistake of its life if it opens up a new full-on war. Speaking with the Kiryat military headquarters in Tel Aviv, Netanyahu says he is addressing the nation to update them on the war. In the south, the war is moving forward with force that Hamas has never seen. Gaza City is surrounded. We are operating within it. We are deepening the pressure on Hamas every hour, every day. There will be no entry of fuel into Gaza or a ceasefire without the return of the kidnapped people. The Biden White House has floated a plan that would see international peacekeeping forces control the security situation in the Gaza Strip when the war is over, which is premised on the total demise of Hamas, providing no small task given the immense network of miles of tunnels that they utilize. Netanyahu asserted it is Israel which will have security responsibility over the Gaza Strip for an indefinite amount of time, as they will never feel safe if they are not in control of what is surrounding their citizens. Netanyahu was asked about the security failures of October 7, which resulted in the slaughter. Do you believe you should take any responsibility? He replied, of course, it's not a question, and said there will be a time after the war to allocate that responsibility and assess what happened. So good information there, and good that they are touching on that once again, and good that he's saying yes, he is allocated and he will have to go through that whole process as soon as the war is over. Israel, almost 10,000 rockets have been fired from Gaza since October the 7th. Jerusalem said the numbers are not final and are being updated daily, hourly. Through Tuesday, multiple air raid sirens were activated in central Israel and border areas with Gaza. Hamas is believed to be holding 239 people hostage in Gaza, along with Israeli citizens. This includes, now listen to this, 25 Thai nationals, 21 Argentinians, 18 Germans, 10 Americans, 7 French, 7 Russians, their best friends, Russia. Come on, why don't they give the Russians the Russians? Because they want weapons in exchange for the Russians. It's insane. 4 Hungarians, 3 Poles, 3 Portuguese, 2 Brits, 2 Filipinos, 2 Romanians, 2 Tanzanians. In addition, the terror group is holding hostage individual nationals of Canada, Austria, Brazil, China, South Africa. South Africa doesn't care. Denmark, Ireland, Lithuania, Mexico, Nepal, Netherlands, Serbia, Ukraine, Uruguay. And a lot of these countries are demonstrating against Israel going in to deal with this issue when their people are being held hostage in this situation. Crazy, upside down clown world. More than 330,000 Israeli citizens have returned from abroad since the start. The Israeli Airports Authority announced on Tuesday that it increases the Jewish state's population by almost 3.5%. So, everyone that is a citizen in Israel already, come home and fight. And when this is over, stay. Because now they know what the world is like and how the world sees Jews, Judaism, and Jewishness. And they realize that is the safest place for them to be, and they need to bolster their forces and make their home in Eretz Israel. Then the rest are going to be arriving really fast in the beginning of this tribulation period. All the Jews for once will be concentrated in one place. And yes, I think that's the Antichrist plan as well. He thinks it's his doing because he can get them all in one place, so halfway through he can crush them with his enemies. Montreal's synagogue firebombed amidst sharp rise in anti-Semitism. Canadian police are investigating attempted firebombings of a synagogue and Jewish community centre in a Montreal suburb in Dollard des Ormeaux, local media reported on Tuesday. The suspected arson attack at Congregation Beth Tikva and a nearby community centre took place overnight on Tuesday. They don't think they need to stress or worry, and it's just this one incident. They should stress and worry because it shows it's everywhere and there are people willing to do this there. They're starting their process. The interesting thing with this firebombing for me as well is the name of the congregation, Beth Tikva, which is House of Hope, right? We're waiting for our blessed hope. This House of Hope was just firebombed in Canada. Israeli Arab Bedouins seek revenge on Hamas. Now this is interesting because these are Bedouins and they are Arabs, right? They're Islamic, they're Muslims. And even Muslims, Arabs, were killed by Hamas. And yes, I know a lot of them are on drugs, but I mean, come on, you'd think that their own religion they would give a free pass to. No, it was a crazy demonic attack. Hamas made a tactical mistake with the Bedouin tribe Abu Isa. They're very well known in Israel. They brutally abused and ultimately murdered one of their sons from Tel Shabal. And when Bedouins seek revenge, they find it. I wouldn't be surprised if in the middle of the war, the Bedouin tribe enters the Gaza Strip, fully armed with their Toyota Jeeps, and bring about a kind of ceasefire between Israel and Hamas so that they can massacre the murderers of Osama Abu Isa. In this case, the Bedouins know the rules of the game better than Jewish Israeli soldiers. Welcome to the Middle East. The Bedouin clan from Tel Shabba in southern Israel is offering publicly $1 million reward for information about the Hamas terrorists behind the brutal murder of Osama Abu Isa near Re'im on October the 7th. His uncle reported in Israeli media how Osama was forced to strip naked, was tortured, and eventually shot by the terrorists. How does his uncle know? Dash cam footage. Everything caught on the dash cam of a vehicle facing the situation. The entire affair. We will take revenge on the terrorists and their families. This is a blood feud, said the desert tribe of Abu Isa, one of the most dangerous and best armed Bedouin tribes in the south. So when everyone's off their high horse about Israel and attacking Israel, they don't even realize that a schism is starting to form in the Arab world, and it is now going to be Muslim against Muslim and Islam against Islam as these things work themselves out the Middle Eastern way. And that's also happening in the background. Israel's historic leap in defense, intercepting threats beyond the atmosphere. In an unprecedented triumph of global defense technology, Israel marked its names in the annals of history by successfully intercepting a rocket beyond Earth's atmosphere. The milestone in space defense showcases Israel's dedication to the safety and security of its people against emerging threats. The Israeli Defense Forces recently announced that the state-of-the-art Arrow missile defense system obliterated the aerial threat high above the earth, a feat not previously accomplished in any theater of defense. The threat originated from the Iran-backed Houthi in Yemen, and it's a stark reminder of the relentless challenges faced by Israel. Again, Israel being innovative and leading the way in technology and innovation for the world, and yet everybody wants to wipe Israel out, remove them from the map, kill everyone who's a Jew or Jewish or Judaism. It makes no sense unless you understand the Bible and you understand the spiritual realm. IDF, we are working on one tunnel after another, demolishing them as we go. Hagari said that they're in the network dubbed the Metro, tunnel shafts under hospitals, mosques, schools, humanitarian sites, playgrounds. We are working, going from tunnel to tunnel, placing weapons there using a range of means to destroy the infrastructure, including through new ways. There is no place where Hamas will be free from the IDF's offensive. Over the past day, we have eliminated both company commanders and battalion commanders, some of who were expected to fill in for commanders we eliminated 2 days prior. So they're eliminating the commanders, new commanders are being appointed, they're barely appointed and don't even have their own coffee cups yet. Boom, the IDF's eliminated them, next one up for a shave. It's literally happening this fast at the moment inside Gaza. Smotrich calls for security zones in Judea and Samaria in a letter to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant on Sunday. The head of the religious Zionism party, also a minister in the Defense Ministry, demanded that they convene an urgent session of the Political Security Cabinet to discuss the continuing insecurity of residents of Judea and Samaria. I mean, just based on that first article I read about the terrorists that they picked up, that says they want to drink their blood and eat their skulls if they're in Judea and Samaria. In the letter, Smotrich calls to create wide security areas around the settlements and roads and prevent Arabs from approaching. This, he argues, is important for 3 reasons. First, security and preventing approach of Arabs who might use this for terrorist attacks. Second, a sense of security given the great sensitivity of the public and the recruitment of many men into the reserves, which leaves women and children home alone. Again. Third, the prevention of friction that could lead to a flare-up in the sector, which would cause greater international damage. The minister said the issue had been discussed previously, but action was not taken. I will not allow additional blood to be spilled due to the insistence of not changing distorted perceptions and not internalizing the lessons of Simchat Torah, October 7th massacre. 38 Palestinians, including 5 affiliated with Hamas, were arrested overnight in Sunday in counter-terror operations across Judea and Samaria. So here's a very real reason for what he's saying and 3 really valid points. And really, the whole world hates Israel right now anyway, so who cares what they think about security measures you put in place to protect women and children whose men are on the front line fighting terror. UN Secretary General, the United Nitwits, useless organization. Secretary General says that Gaza Strip is a graveyard for children. He's parroting what Hamas is saying, and Hamas is lying. Israel calls for his resignation. On Monday, Guterres claimed Gaza was becoming a graveyard for children. He accused Israel of meting out collective punishment. Guterres urged Israel and Hamas to enter a ceasefire, which both Israel and the United States stated would only benefit Hamas. 2 weeks ago, US National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby warned against publishing numbers put out by an organization that's run by terrorists. The senior advisor of the Foundation of the Defense of Democracy, FDD, Richard Goldberg, said anyone using those numbers is knowingly communicating Hamas propaganda. It has been over 30 days since the children of southern Israel were intentionally slaughtered by Hamas terrorists, but you have said nothing about the graveyard of children the south of Israel became, Erdan wrote. He called out the moral rot of Guterres and called for the Secretary General's resignation. You have lost your moral compass. You cannot remain Secretary General, not for another minute. Any UN representative who makes false, immoral comparisons between a brutal terrorist organization that commits war crimes and a law-abiding democracy proves that he suffers from moral rot. As we get into the start of the 70th week, as we get into that agreement that's going to be strengthened by Antichrist, as we approach the door of the final week of judgment, the UN is throwing away its mask because they are showing who they truly are and who they truly report to. Hence, Guterres and his remarks at the moment. They've never been for Israel. We've proven that time again over the years with stories on this channel. They've never been there for their benefit. They've been there as a tool of the globalists and the cable and the powers that be in the darkness. And now more than ever, they're revealing their true face. Continue praying for Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray that hearts are softened, hearts of stone into hearts of flesh. Pray for scales to come off eyes and for them to see the light of Yeshua. Pray for more miracles on the battlefield and in everyday life. Pray for the civilians in Gaza and the civilians in Israel. Pray for the grief and the shock and the horror that many have gone through, that they need to internalize and process and go to God with, so that God can bring healing. Pray, because the fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. And soon when we leave, we'll be gone. So use that weapon of prayer now while it counts. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.